Hello and welcome to another episode on FPL Chats. My name is Josh, and today I'm going to be running through Game Week 17 and the best 1 week punts available out there. So there's only one more week to the World Cup, and we've got to maximize our points in FPL before the break. So let's get into it. So as for defenders, um, for me there was only really one standout option. If you have a player who you'd like to swap out, maybe you've got a defender that's injured. Um, the number one pick for me would be Andrew Robertson, and the reason for that is because he's been playing very well recently, but not picking up the returns that have kind of reflected his performance. So Robertson for me on his day is probably one of the best left backs in the league. Liverpool have come into some form now, and I think he's due a haul. So he's playing at home versus Southampton, which is a strong fixture. Southampton have only just sacked their manager and brought in a new manager. So it's a little bit maybe unpredictable what we expect from them. But Liverpool will want to make sure they win this game before going into the World Cup. I think Robertson um, is a threat down the left flank. Over the last 10 game weeks or so, I saw very good analysis kind of highlighting where Liverpool were attacking from, and it was predominantly the left hand side where Andrew Robertson and Darwin Núñez kind of operate. Liverpool have been in reasonable form. I think they've been up and down, if I'm honest, but Andrew Robertson specifically has been in good form. He's passing the eye test, so when watching games, he seems to be making the right decisions. He seems to be confident on the ball. Another thing is that Liverpool played in the Carabao Cup in midweek, and Robertson had a rest in that game, so he should be fit, firing, and ready to tackle this game week. So if you've got a defender slot, I would wholeheartedly recommend Andrew Robertson for that slot. Moving on to midfield. So there was a couple of players here. So I think that first and foremost, these are differential players who I would suggest. I think the obvious choices are players like Salah, like De Bruyne, probably Rashford, probably Saka for this week. But these are differential players that I'm suggesting, and I really like the look of these two in particular. So Eric Bailey of Aston Villa, he's had an up and down season, but in the last 3 game weeks he has scored in each of those, and Villa have just appointed Unai Emery, new manager, and it seems like in the first couple of selections, he is favouring Bailey, and Bailey played very, very well against Manchester United in their league game. He didn't start the next game, which was in the Carabao Cup, but he did come on and affect the game immediately. He played a big part in scoring Aston Villa's second goal against Manchester United. So and Bailey's a very talented player. I think he's gone under the radar and is quite undervalued in FPL. I think he's 4.5 mil, which is like one of the lowest a midfielder can be. But he's super talented. He's got a wand of a left foot, and yeah, I think Aston Villa look quite dangerous when he's on the field. Um, Emery has traditionally played in a 4-4-2 or 4-2-2-2 formation, and that suits the likes of Bailey, who can play on the right hand side of the midfield, or he can play on the right side of an attack. And I just have a feeling he's going to be able to cause Brighton some problems. Brighton have been good, and as you can see, my other suggestion is a Brighton player. So I'm expecting goals in this game in particular for Brighton and Villa. But yeah, so both teams are also leaking goals. So yeah, Brighton haven't kept many clean sheets at all recently, especially since the new appointment. Um, and then Aston Villa are also conceding as well. So yeah, maybe we're in for a really entertaining game of football with these two. With Mitoma, this guy's slowly becoming one of my favorite players in the game. He looks on fantastic form, even more so than Bailey. Um, he assisted against Chelsea, maybe he assisted two against Chelsea. He scored in Brighton's most recent home game. And then Brighton went to Arsenal in the Carabao Cup in midweek, and Matoma came off the bench and he scored, and Brighton won that game. I think it was 3-1 or 4-1, um, albeit Arsenal's second team. But I mean, for Brighton to go away to the Emirates, especially this season when the Emirates is such a fortress, and to produce what they produced, and Matoma was heavily involved, I think that Brighton can get some goals against Villa. So yeah, for these two midfielders, very cheap midfielders. I think Mitoma's 4.9 million and Bailey's a 4.5, so you should be able to afford them if you've got a midfield slot and you're looking to take a differential punt. Moving on to the attack, and I've got two suggestions here as well. Sticking with Aston Villa, I thought Ollie Watkins looked fantastic against Manchester United in midweek. I think that the new formation does suit him. The way that Emery wants to play does suit him. And I was hearing somebody on a podcast recently saying that strikers historically have done really really well under Unai Emery, and yeah, I mean Watkins. He can take a few chances to score, and he can be frustrating sometimes to watch. But I think that with that first goal against Manchester United, and then he's got Brighton coming up, and he does like to play against Brighton as well. So he's managed to get like 3 goals in the last couple of games against Brighton. They're one of his favourite opponents to play. So yeah, something in it for Watkins. Although a word of caution: anybody transferring in Watkins, it can be a frustrating watch sometimes. He's kind of similar to Rashford in that regard. Maybe that's just personal view, but yeah, watch out for that one. So the final player I suggest for this final game week before the World Cup is Martial. I'm still not convinced on his minutes. I think that he played 60 minutes against Aston Villa in the midweek. He played 30 minutes coming off the bench against them in the weekend. So maybe he's due a start. I don't predict him to play the whole game. But yeah, he scored against Villa in midweek, and he's a dangerous player, of course. His history against Fulham, as is Watkins against Brighton, is very very good. So um, in the away fixture, so in the same fixture that Manchester United have got this weekend, in an away game against Fulham a couple of seasons ago, Martial scored one, assisted another, and came away with maximum bonus points. So Martial, if you believe in players having a favourite team to play against, if you believe in players going to certain grounds that they enjoy, Martial is certainly one to consider for that reason. And that ends this video. If you guys liked it, then please give it a like. If you would like to subscribe, do that too. But yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you all have a fantastic game week. I'll be back with more videos over the World Cup, and yeah, stay tuned till then. Bye bye for now.